Richard, you have already held a press conference over this matter. Why should we not be excited? And when Prof asked me the question, he said, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you can correct me. The president is doing one term. Do you know why he was cautious? Because you suspect the president may want to do 2 terms. But you know that's not possible.
Well, I expect Prof to also know.
You know that's not possible. He can't do 2 terms.
To also know because the Constitution provides certainty. So nobody should wonder about it.
I'm here. Can I explain myself?
Everybody understands you. The point is that the Constitution is clear-cut, so there's nothing in the middle.
So why have you been making a big meal of that?
But the Constitution on its own is clear, and everybody should have that comfort. But the president's conduct is giving doubt.
Which kind of conduct?
Which conduct is paramount in the removal of Chief Justice, right? And the packing of the court.
I've been trying to understand how you guys get these things from.
But you have to be careful. Politics is very dynamic. This whole thing, I've told you, and I believe that's the case, that they cooked this whole removal thing in the back.
Is that what you did for sure?
Oh yes. I don't know what you're talking. I'm saying that the Chief Justice, they've cooked it and it's happening. It's just unfolding. The law is just giving credence to it. And that's the only way they can.
Okay, let's get to the Cedi and its
because
behavior.
we should have discussed that. You see, the Cedi matter and the performance, yes, of course, it was 14. I think we left office about 14.5, so somewhere about that. And it's come down to 12. Something has happened, it's gone down. But the context in which it's happening is clear. Prof was talking about the fiscal response, the monetary response and type of thing like that. But that is happening in the context of the IMF program, the PCPEG-backed IMF program. So it's happening. There's nothing government can do outside of that perimeter, right? So everything they are doing is already predetermined. They're just conforming to a structure that's built. And that you see the economy was on a certain path, okay, on a trajectory to recover before they took over. So that's clear in our minds that what is happening is there. And also, you look at where the Prof was able to mention, everybody has mentioned where this improvement is coming from, which is the increase in gold prices, which you cannot control. So in of itself, even though you have the gold, the implication for that to affect your forex is actually external, because the market determines the price in that area. Cocoa also, remittances, the goodwill of our people, maybe the interest of coming home, sending back, that you can't control necessarily. So the question then comes, what is the government doing by itself? What policy have they originated, which is organic to their coming to office, that is bringing about this? Where I would agree with Mr. Thompson, I guess, saying that the fundamentals in relation to what they are doing to say that we have changed ABCD is pretty much what they have inherited. So my fear there is we are celebrating this, but there's an effect to it, which Mr. Thompson mentioned also, to say that it's going to affect our export, right? It may help your gold export, but then in other aspects, it's going to affect your export, because when your currency is strong, your export is expensive. So to the extent that we want to create employment, which they talked about, and I'm happy people are beginning to realize that this whole 24-hour economy was a big lie. They can't do it. This is going to pour even water on it even more, because your export is going to be very expensive, and you can't drive it, and you need that to be able to create jobs. So right where we are now, the Cedi thing that is happening, I know Prof don't want to say it's a fluke or whatever, and I don't want to say that because perhaps it sounds, but I don't see what the government is doing to drive.
You don't want to say it's a fluke because you have already committed yourself by saying the credit should go to Dr. Bawumia. So you can't be here to say this is a fluke.
Oh no, you can say that to the extent that what is driving it now is part of the initiative that he's brought, which is led to the gold purchase program. You can say that. But then what the government is doing now to build on that is where you can say it's a fluke, because they inherited a good condition. They haven't improved it. So what the high that you're enjoying now, originating from before, if that fades out, then perhaps you can't continue to have that. And that goes to the sustainability.
But you know how the Cedi responds to, just like the dollar sometimes, responds to behavior. Trump comes into power just by virtue of he being voted into power, and the dollar begins to change.
Absolutely, and that historical. There's a
so when you say nothing really,
I think there's something happening from the fiscal side.
Right.
Well, but Prof,
Our reserves have been increasing even under the MPP, under the gold reserves. But if you look at the expenditure of 2024 and all of that, and you can see from the IMF supported program you quoted, by the end of 2024, practically we missed all the program targets, with the exception of our reserves, where we exceeded. We were supposed to do primary surplus of 0.5%. We ended up with a deficit of 3.9%.
It's okay.
I know
So,
that
Prof, let me.
So from the fiscal side, what they've done is that they've been able to bring the primary anchor from a negative of 3.9% to 1.5% primary surplus. That tells the level of strength in the expenditure. So there's a fiscal backing.
But Prof, so let me. So even that, even what Prof is saying.
Doesn't want to hear this.
Oh no! I mean, why? Prof is having, but I just want to have my time. You see, even what Prof is saying, and he admitted here that government is operating about 60%.
Yeah.
Is that realistic? You understand? There's a problem to that. It's like you're starving yourself. Instead of working hard to make money and have a 3-square meal, you're starving yourself and working less. How does that help you long term? You understand? So government...
But as a Christian, sometimes you know the benefits in fasting.
Yeah, even that. You don't do it all year round.
We agree that is the way to go 2024.
Yes.
There's consensus around that.
Thank you, Prof.
In terms of the tightening.
But fine.
Let's allow Richard now. Yeah.
So the point is that you yourself make the point that very soon they have to loosen up. So this whole thing is comical. If you're only fasting and you're not working to save yourself, and tomorrow when you're loosening up to now eat, then you are going to deplete your gains that you have made. So
you want a part of the credit for something that is comical?
Sorry?
You want a part of the credit for something that is
about the part of the credit that we want, I've demonstrated, and that one is not in contention as to how gold has affected what we have. That's manifest what I want to see. But the point I want to make is that as a Ghanaian, for us to look at how this benefits us long term, okay, is how is it the government is going to sustain this?
That's
and
right.
I think that we should ensure that there is a production effort backing that. Prof made the point that it is more or less environmentally destructive growth potential that is driving this. So now you get to a point where we are producing, right? We are investing in our economy such that we are producing and our export is driving the currency flow. So if that's the case, then I don't know, Khalid, what you guys are going to do about the one district, one factory in terms of investing in that to drive productivity, to give us the opportunity to get more forex and then to create more job opportunities. That for me is the key. Okay. So when that is not done, I am just worried that this is just a 9-day wonder. And you know that, like the point you have made, that when there's a change of government, there's a certain response. You saw that when the MPP came in, right? You know, it happens, and even everywhere in America, you have made reference. So that happens. But then the point is that how do we ensure that this thing is sustained? And the government, Khalid and his government are quick to take some credit now because they know this is not going to last. So they are just scrambling around. They're just scrambling around.
Except when you are speaking from the part of the party, you and the party in parliament should try and sing from the same song sheet. Otherwise, there's a problem. Because when you say we can get a bit of credit, then Afenyo says, this is not even anything. It's because this has happened, which Prof says is completely wrong. Now, Khalid,
but let me disagree briefly.
Business people and people in you call it the economic front, like Senyor Hosi, agree with what Ken Thompson is talking about. He says, prices are sticky downwards. until stability is attained, very little will trickle downwards.
Yeah.
Imports may temporarily surge as import tax revenue may fall, and local production and exports may struggle with productivity. Now hear this. He says the sharp appreciation is concerning for economic stability.
Well, I mean,
Just one quick second.
very disingenuous.
Just 1 second.
Okay, hear him.
Yeah. So what the minority is talking about is nothing different from what Prof has said in terms of the external impact, right? So they're making a point to the fact that what the government is claiming, their own policy intervention cannot be seen. That what is happening is vastly external, is externally driven. The increase in gold prices is external, right? Cocoa price is external, the remittances are external. So what they have done is what they are referring to, that all of these things, it's not government-led